What's going on, y'all? So we're back on Project Lightning Bug. I kind of took a step away, went to remove the rear struts, and discovered the trailing arms were bent. I don't know how the previous owner did it, whether he jacked up the vehicle by it, hit something on the road. You know how this project's been. It's been a love-hate relationship. It loves to drive me nuts, and I'm starting to hate to work on it. But we keep going back to it because I wanted a wagon. I like the body style. I love the car. Unfortunately, I've owned this car for 2 years and haven't got more than 40 or 50 miles out of it. So, that being said, we're going to replace the rear trailing arms that are bent, the stock units, with some units from AWR. Now, the reason I went with AWR over Megan or other arms is they have poly bushings that are replaceable. So, down the road when Miles acquire, I know that I can get replacement products from them. I spoke with Allie at AWR. She's been a big help, and that was one of the reasons I went with them. Their customer support is outstanding. They've been there with any questions. So we'll get to showing you what's going on with the rear suspension and start taking it apart. I've already got the driver's side apart because we were going to replace the leaking Taquico Blues that were on there and found more problems. So let me show you where we're at. So this is the driver's side trailing arm. You guys can see how mangled it is. There are 2 bolts that hold the parking brake cable, and then back here, down low, kind of right in front of my finger, is where there is a rearmost nut to remove to get the trailing arm off. And then if we snake our way under the vehicle around the jack stand here, you guys can see the front of the trailing arm there, and there's a pass-through bolt. So we'll get our tools out. We'll start getting this undone. Sorry if my hand's shaking a little bit, y'all. I've been working 12s the past couple days, and I'm still a little tired. And yes, the rear suspension is apart. We are replacing these struts with some other units we have, and that'll be for another video. So starting with these brake cable bolts, they're just a 12mm nut. I got a deep socket on here just because it fits better with the bolt stick that's part of the bracket. So once you get them loose, you should be able to pull them off by hand. I'm not worried about dropping these because the AWR setup does have new nuts on it, and this bolt is kind of stuck. So let's see if we can get this off by hand. If not, we'll break it. Or I'm not worried about saving these because these arms are trash. So, sorry, y'all, keep hitting the camera. Not the easiest thing to do when you don't have someone out here work you, but it's also my way of working in peace for a few. When the kids get out here, it's fun to teach them, but at the same time, it also takes me a little longer. So, got this off here, and then this bracket drops down. Let me get my camera backed up so I can show you all a little bit. And if you can't get it loose, like I'm struggling to with one hand, even the bracket's bent from whatever they did to this thing. So, let me pause this real quick, y'all. I gotta get 2 hands in here. But this will help remove our e-brake cable, and then we'll start on the back nut down in here like I showed you earlier, and I'll let y'all know what size that is. Alright, you guys, hold on, y'all, let me get some light on in here. So this part down here I thought was a nut is actually a bolt, and it's a 17mm. So that should free this up off that arm. Now we'll move to the front. I gotta find a support for this because I've got 2 jack stands holding up an axle for the Jeep. The other 2 I had holding up the car. And I gotta get creative here because I don't think I have any lumber sitting around available because everything is in use. We'll see what I can find and go from there. But it's a 17mm, as I said earlier. You guys can see the front bolt is also a 17. So I've already busted these loose. I had to put a cheater pipe on this one. I could have probably used my electric ratchet, but I didn't think it would fit. So we're going old school, using hand tools. Not afraid to get dirty or work for it. Alright you guys, side by side comparison of the two. I know I showed you all a still shot just a second ago, but the factory arm, or trailing arm, has a rubber bushing, seed channel, really thin seed channel at that. Now, the AWR trailing arm is DOM tubing, poly bushings. They said in their description when you buy these that you may have to do some work for the e-brake cable. We'll see what we have to do. We'll see what we can come up with if we even have to. So reverse order is going to be the same as us taking it out. We're going to get the front link mounted first, or the front bolt mounted first, get this squared up on the rear setup, and then run the bolts home. Now ideally when you put suspension in, sorry for the pause, I was thinking, you want to tighten the arms, the suspension up when you get weight on them. So here today, we're going to get them all mounted in, but we're going to wait until we get the shocks in to get everything tightened down to spec. Because if you tighten them in the air or at droop, you can get suspension binder binding the bushings, and we don't want to deal with all that. At least that's how it was in the Jeep, so I'm going to do it the same way with this. Alright, so before these go in, we're putting a little grease in the bushings. In the metal sleeves for them anyways. You guys can see I got my finger in there. This one's big enough to get grease in it. This, however, is not. So I got a little grease in it with my finger as best I could. And then what I'll do, I have the bolt down here. I'm going to take a little grease and put it down around the smooth part of the bolt. Oops, sorry guys, right there. So we'll put a little grease on the bolt itself. And that should help at least grease the sleeve against the bolt. So we have the front bushing, or the front part of the trailing arm in. We're starting the bolt by hand, getting it in there, and it's threaded through. Kind of hard to see, sorry y'all. Run that in. I've got my 17mm. Now I'll get these hand tight. I won't crank them down until I get weight on the car. Like I said, that's how you don't want any bushing bind or any issues with that. My only thought about poly versus rubber is the fact that I hope they don't squeak, and we won't know until we get the shocks done, but this is in here hand tight, still moves freely, see? So now we'll get to the back section. So here in the back you have the sleeve that is threaded, and then you are going to slide the arm up, the trailing arm up over that. Bear with me 1 second, y'all. Just like that. And then we get our bolt. We'll put our bolt in here and tighten it. Not crank it down, but at least get it on there. Alright, so we have our bolt and our washer. And then you just alright, that's not tight, it's just hand tight. So now we'll get the parking brake cable back on. So here we have the nuts for the parking brake cable. Now AWR had a comment on their page, and I don't remember what it is, but I'll go back and look at it. Something about the parking brake cable and how it fits or something like that. But as we can see, there is no issue here. So it fits tight, or fits right, I mean. So we'll get the nuts on here. These ones you can tighten up. These are on and done. As long as I get this hand started from here. So get these on here and tighten these up, and then this side will be done. Alright you guys, so ignore the box in the background over there. But, so on this side we'll take the tire off. I'm going to show you how it's done while the whole strut assembly is still in the vehicle. I haven't even got to replacing the struts on this side yet, or finishing the other side like I said earlier. So, here we go. Alright you guys, this concludes our video. I got the AWR Trailing Arms on. They fit flawlessly. The park brake cable didn't need any finagling or anything else. I'm not sponsored by them, just like the product, and wanted to share with you guys. I hadn't seen a Protege 5 install yet for one of their trailing arms. There will be more coming with this product. We got to do the struts, the strut bar, and a couple other things in the back. We're even going to check the lateral links for straightness. But if you liked the video, click the like button. Hit subscribe. There will be more videos coming. Thanks for watching. God bless y'all.